Life is about the journey, not the destination. No better anime comes to mind that expresses this age-old cliche better than Samurai Champloo. The journey begins with three would-be travelers in the Edo period of Japan. Mugen, a rogue samurai who grew up in the Ryukyu Islands, who'll do just about anything for his next meal or an excuse to pick a fight. Jin, a ronin on the run who values the honorable practice of kenjutsu, which is more or less considered a lost art in the relatively peaceful Edo period. And Fu, a young girl working at the local town tea shop whom, like the rest of the trio, has been living her life day to day with no clear direction or purpose. The trio's journey begins after what seems like a fated encounter between the three in Fu's tea shop. Our rogue samurai engage in an epic battle in attempts to prove which style is superior. Mugen's free-spirited, flashy style that relies heavily on its unpredictability to overcome his opponents, and Jin's efficient, calculated kenjutsu swordplay, all while battling off some local crooks wreaking havoc in Fu's shop. After a series of events that leaves our polar opposite duo captured by these crooks, our female plot driver Fu takes an interest in the two and helps them escape. She believes Mugen and Jin are tools she can finally use to set out on the journey to her life's purpose, to find the samurai who smells of sunflowers. At first glance, the destination for her journey sounds rather vague and unrealistic. After all, sunflowers don't actually have a smell, so why is the whole show direction based on such a seemingly unattainable goal? Before I continue, there will be spoilers for the show's ending from this point, so if you haven't started Samurai Champloo yet, I highly encourage you to start, and return to this video once complete. You've been warned. Now, I want to share with you the parallels I've drawn from my own life, and the trio's journey for the seemingly unattainable samurai who smells of sunflowers, and how this ultimately changed my whole perspective on existence and purpose. 1. Our destination will never make us feel exactly the way we imagined. In life, society encourages us to strive toward one ultimate goal, and promises that the secret to fulfillment lies within achieving that set goal. When you're a young adult, you may be encouraged to work your ass off at your 9 to 5 to get that coveted promotion, only to discover it came at the cost of your mental health and well-being. When you become the middle-aged retiree, you may finally have saved enough money to escape that rat race, but did so at the cost of your youth, and even worse, shat away 30 plus years of your life doing something you didn't really love. The jarring realization that our life's goals still cannot fill the void within our existence can be observed by Fu when she finally meets the samurai who smells of sunflowers, whom we find out late in the series is her long-lost father. Upon Fu's final encounter with her father, she discovers the strong, tall samurai she long sought revenge from for abandoning her as a little girl was nothing more than a sick, bedridden man who mourned the scars and sickness of his past. Fu, upon realizing that she could do nothing more than pity her father in this state, breaks down and walks out of her father's house, leaving the audience wondering whether or not she actually forgives him or not. Seemingly, the journey ends where it first started, in anguish and hatred for the circumstances life has placed her in. Like Fu's goal to find the samurai who smells of sunflowers, we grind day in and day out to achieve a penultimate goal, with no real guarantee that this goal will give us happiness. However, as we'll soon discuss, there's more to life than reaching that ultimate milestone we set for ourselves. 2. Find your tribe. As Fu put it best, getting by in life sure is hard. Whether you're like me, slaving away at a 9 to 5, or like Fu and the gang who are struggling to get a consistent meal without working the occasional odd freelance job or busking session, day to day we ruminate on the dreams and aspirations we have, our samurai who smells of sunflowers, if you will. But it's so easy for us to lose sight of these goals when we're constantly scrounging for enough money to survive. In any situation, we're forced to move forward and fend for ourselves, because the world isn't just going to stop for us. We'll never stop feeling hunger, we'll never stop yearning for the next adventure, the next sexual misadventure, or the next opportunity to prove our worth. The passage of time and our desire to be the best version of ourselves are two of the few things that are guaranteed in this life. We can see this desire to continually prove our worth to the world in Mugen, who just has to fight anyone he feels could be as tough as him, or anyone that could view his fighting style as inferior because it's unconventional. Oftentimes, my own choices are driven by the same desire to prove to the world that I'm worth something, whether that be through my occupation, the partner I choose to be with, or even the clothes I wear. The passage of time in our lives could not be made any more clearer than in the later episodes of the show, where Fu starts to wish that her journey with our samurai duo could last forever. This yearning for time to stand still, for a moment in time to lock into the present forever, is much like the feeling we get when we spend time with our loved ones, or when we marvel at the views of a world that seems so distant from our own. It's in these moments of friendship and companionship during the chaos that is life that reminds us that we might not need to win every battle, or to become the best practitioners of our craft, or to even prove all our enemies wrong. Life doesn't promise this to any of us in the end, so what should we look back on when it's all said and done? Lessons learned from strangers we've encountered and helped along the way. That one time we ate until we nearly peed our guts out at that all-you-can-eat joint. Or that time you went on that bad shroom trip with your buds and you could have sworn you saw aliens. These are the moments that we'll look back on when we remember the grind that is day-to-day life. Not the job, not the titles, and not the money. Just as Jin walked a path to defend the honor of the lost art of Kenjutsu, or as Fu searched for the so-called samurai that smells of sunflowers, so too are we often walking a path that leaves us yearning for more than what we initially set out for. And if we're not dead by the time we reach our samurai who smells of sunflowers, one thing is for certain: another journey, another chapter in our lives will commence. 3. Life goes on. The beauty of the show's bittersweet ending leaves me with the realization no matter how many memories, experiences, and lessons we've shared with those who share our paths along our journey, there comes a point in time where your path will eventually diverge from those you've grown to care about. I've witnessed this in every milestone in my life, whether it be parting ways with friends after high school, university graduations, with colleagues from one job to the next, or even with friends who I eventually grew apart from. The impermanence of life's greatest moments, the finite amount of time I get to share with strangers who eventually left a huge impact on my life by the end of my time with them, is heartbreaking at first. But Samurai Champloo taught me how to reframe what appears at first glance to be a simple goodbye to travel companions. At any point in our lives, although our journeys and milestones will inevitably come to pass, and we all have to keep eventually parting ways with those closest to us, we will never be the same people we were when we first embarked on our journey. Fu might not have exacted the revenge she wanted to on her father, but she was able to discover the truth about why he left and open the door to forgiveness. Jin might not have become the most honorable samurai to the world's standard, but he finally met two people he could truly call friends after being completely alone his whole life. And Mugen might not have bested his rival in Jin at the end of the show, but he learned to actually care for somebody other than himself, even going so far as telling Jin that he was the first person he didn't want to just kill. By show's end, we're left with the crew parting ways after learning that their whole journey was based on a botched coin toss. Jin and Mugen, who agreed to journey along to find the so-called samurai who smells of sunflowers, if Fu's coin landed tails, are told that the coin actually landed heads. If we've learned that the destination of our journey doesn't really guarantee happiness, and even the reasons that once pushed us to begin our journeys can be as phony and insignificant as a botched coin toss, what do we as humans take away from life? For myself personally, it's the memories and lessons I've picked up from my comrades along the way, the smile I get to walk home to from my partner when I finish work, but also the hope that one day the companions I parted ways with along my journey will cross paths with me once more, so we can relive the time we looked for our samurai who smells of sunflowers all over again. Thank you.